to my most worshipful Guru Pada Padma, Paramaraditam Asto Tarasata Shri Shrimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev, and to Nitilila Pravishta Om Ishpad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the entire Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Varga, to all assembled devotees, please accept my Dandavat Pranams. Hare Krishna. Haribo. So, very grateful to be present amongst this assembly of Vaishnavis. Please accept my pranams and feeble efforts to remember our Srila Gurudev and his transcendental Vani, his Katha. This is our life sustenance, Gurudev's Katha. Gurudev spoke such sweet Harikatha everywhere he went. So we are doing our humble best to present Srila Gurudev's unabridged Harikatha as it is everywhere he went. So this is our primary service at this time. We're presently finishing all of 1999, Gurudev's Katha. That will be up to volume 48, the last 2-3 years. And also his Harikatha from when he went back to India. It was very nice reading Gurudev's lectures from Hindi to English, because he's speaking about the glories of all the devotees in the West. And living myself in India for 16 years, when you're in Vrindavan, you're just in Vrindavan. It's hard to remember the West. And I know, because devotees living there, when you're in Vrindavan, you're in Vrindavan. There's no higher place. But Gurudev's mission is not just Vrindavan. Gurudev's mission is all the places around the world where devotees are present. So this is also Gurudev's mission here, Bhakti Ashram, by this beautiful assembly of devotees. And so, when Gurudev went back to Vrindavan, he glorified the West. It's very interesting, right? In Vrindavan, in Hindi, he was glorifying the Western devotees. And he said, I haven't found devotees like this. Even in India. He said, some places, Vrindavan, Mathura, some very Brijabasi mood devotees are there, very glorious devotees. But Gurudev was also praising his Western devotees, Prabhupada's Western devotees. He would always glorify Srila Prabhupada. He said, look what he has done. Miracles. From mountains to valleys to islands, all over the world, he has spread this special fragrance of Braj Bhakti. Yes? You can see here, right? Brijbasi child. Gurudev was saying about New Braj, he said, I was very astonished that the whole village was like devotees. He was talking about this in one of his classes. He said, everyone knows in their heart that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If you were to ask them, there's no doubt, no question. He said, sometimes in India it's difficult because there's mixed mood. Yes, Krishna is great, but Hanuman, Ram, also so many other avatars, they're all God. The speciality of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is he established this one-pointed understanding. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna. Even all the other incarnations, they're only coming from Sri Krishna. And he established this. So Gurudev was glorifying the West. And so that's our mood and our service. That's why each place is represented. Gurudev's Katha here in Singapore, Houston, Australia, Bali, Fiji, Malaysia, UK, all the different places, San Francisco, LA, New Braj, Eugene. So many places where Gurudev's Harikatha is present. So Prabhupada said his books would be the law books for mankind for 10,000 years. Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gita. So our mood is Srila Gurudev's Harikatha. This is the textbook. Right? What does it mean to be a Gaudiya Vaishnav? How to be a Gaudiya Vaishnav in the line of Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Srila Rupa Goswami, following in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. What does that mean? So if you go through the nectar of Gurudev's Harikatha, it's so clear. Never any doubt. Again and again he repeats this same mood of the Goswamis and the succession of our gurus in our line, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. No doubt. What is our aim and object? What is the goal? How to achieve that goal? What is the process? Madhuri Kadambini, Jaiva Dharma, all these teachings of Gurudev is no different from the teachings of the whole Goswami lineage and our Gaudiya lineage, Swarup Rupanuga Gaudiya Sampradaya. So our Gurudev's Harikatha is very potent. But how do we develop prem? This is something Gurudev said in Eugene. July 7th, 96. Very beautiful things Gurudev spoke. He said, how do we develop that prem? Prema pumarta mohan. That prem is the goal, right? He said sambandha, relationship. And the mercy, kripa. Mercy of those we develop sambandha with. So our sambandha is with our Srila Gurudev. And there are many other glorious acharyas in this Rupanuga line that we take shelter of and hear from and serve. And we pray to them, please help me develop my Guru Bhakti, devotion to Sri Guru. And by that, all spiritual success is certainly achieved. So Gurudev spoke here in Eugene, a few interesting stories I'll mention, right? Because that's what we try to do. We go and we're serving Gurudev's Harikatha in all these areas, right? Gurudev said, I'm going to all the places Prabhupada preached and taking the dust of those places. So we're trying to remember Srila Gurudev and take the dust of his lotus feet and repeat his Harikatha, right? Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, always remember. Remember Krishna? How will we remember Krishna? We remember Guru Pad Padma. So Gurudev told a story, actually, that is connected to this principle of devotion to Sri Guru and the importance of Guru Bhakti. Very important story. And also to understand how to approach Sri Guru and also how to avoid the dangers of impersonalism. It's a very interesting story. But it's also connected to the sweetness of Braj. Sweetness of Vrindavan. So the best stories are those that give a good teaching, how to practice bhakti in our life, but are also connected to the sweetness of Braj and remind us of Krishna Katha. Okay? So Gurudev said one time Krishna was in the forest with the cowherd boys, and there was a very special sweet Srimati Radhika had made called Amrita Keli, like nectar personified. And Krishna was eating a little bit, but he wanted to share with the cowherd boys, but Madhu Mangal wanted it for himself. Madhu Mangal said, give it all to me. I am a Brahmin. First worship the Brahmins. Namo Brahmanya Devaya. Give it all to me. He said, Krishna, you're always everyone's giving everything to you, Krishna. You should serve the Brahmins. You're just a Vaishya, just a cowherd boy. But I'm a Brahmin. But Gurudev described that Krishna shared this with everyone. Why? This is Krishna's mood. Anything that is special, anything that's wonderful. Krishna is Bhagavan, God, but he is not self-interested. He is the highest, right, expression of the Godhead who is always serving everyone, increasing their happiness, increasing their bliss. So Krishna gave this sweet. What is the sweetness in Vrindavan? The love of Srimati Radhika. But Sakyaras, they cannot relish that. Only through prasad. They can understand something of the sweetness and the love of Srimati Radhika. So Krishna desires to distribute that what she has made so they can understand the glory of her love. Right? And honor her. So he gave to everyone. And Madhu Mangal, Gurudev said he was always envious. Not envious, but this is his pastime. He was to show us something very important. Gurudev said Madhu Mangal is our guru also. Madhu Mangal wanted to show the position of Krishna and the importance of Guru. So he tells this story. You remember the story from Eugene? And I'm sure you typed it. Actually, this is 96. You weren't typing this one yet. 96, 97. Okay. So Madhu Mangal said, Krishna, everyone loves you because you have some special attributes. What is that? Everyone knows, right? Mor Pankaj, Siki Pincha Mauli, Krishna's beautiful peacock feather. Anyone can put on a peacock feather? No. Right? Krishna's peacock feather. And Madhu Mangal said, somehow you have this special skill at playing the flute. And by this, you're attracting and stealing everyone's hearts. Right? You see Krishna? He's playing the flute, wearing a peacock feather. And he says you stand in a very charming way and you know how to speak with people and capture their hearts. So everyone's giving you all the sweets, nothing for me. They should understand, in society you serve the Brahmins, whether they play a flute or not. And also you have this very beautiful pitambar, like lightning garments. So Krishna said, no problem, you take it. Gurudev would tell this story. So he gave Madhu Mangal his pitambar, his flute, his peacock feather. He said, let's see. Then everyone will worship you and serve you and give you all the ladus, and you can choose to distribute or not. Right? So in the meantime, Kamsa was thinking how to defeat this Krishna. He had sent so many demons, not possible. So he said, now he called Keshi demon. He said, Keshi demon said, how will I find Krishna? He said, he's wearing a peacock feather, he has a flute, dresses with a pitambar. So Keshi Daitya, this powerful horse demon, came to Vrindavan, and Madhumangal was walking around like Krishna, trying to attract everyone. He said, oh, this horse also will be attracted by me. Right? Dressing up like God isn't enough. Gurudev spoke about this. We have examples in South India, in different parts of India. People like to say, I am Krishna. There's one so-called avatar, and he would lay on Ananta Shesh. They had many hooded snakes, and he had arranged by his technicians to have lights come out and fire, bulbs, electricity. But that day the short wasn't proper, it wasn't properly grounded, and they turned it on. It was his Vyas Puja, and it began to shake. It was electrifying him. Right? Yes, Kundalini energy. Right? If I dress like God, if I can arrange something to look like God, then maybe I will become God. Prabhupada would say one time, because one time he was giving a lecture and someone came in and said, I am God. Who are you speaking about? You should worship me. Prabhupada said, when you cross the street, do you wait for it to be, a red light or green light? When do you cross? Right? Do you cross when it says, now you can cross? He said, yes. He said, then how are you God? If you were God, you would just say, stop all the cars and walk across. This is Maya. In the West, we have one conception of impersonalism. India, we have a deeper conception of impersonalism. But Gurudev said this story is to show us that simply dressing up like God, pretending we're God is not enough. Keshi came and kicked Madhumangal, and he rolled back 100 paces. Then he ran to Krishna and said, Krishna, take your peacock feather, take your pitambar, take your flute. Right? Look at all these problems that are coming. So we want to play God, and therefore we're in this world, Gurudev said. But if we want to be with Krishna, we want to be happy forever, then we have to accept our position. Right? Another important point Gurudev said is Guru Tattva. He said that day Baladev was not there, therefore this problem came. He said anytime Baladev was there, then he would defeat the demons, or very easily they would overcome any difficulties. So he said in life we need Guru. Gurudev gave the example of a lotus flower. Lotus flower, when it's directly in the sun, it will wither. But when it's connected to the water, then that water, that is Guru Tattva, mercy of Guru. Right? What kind of Guru? Gurudev said a Guru who, one of the qualifications, there are many qualifications, but Gurudev mentioned in this case, in Eugene, he said an important qualification. He said, Nindari shunya hridamipshita sangalabdya. He mentioned this verse of Rupa Goswami. They should be bhajana vigya, immersed in bhajan, expert in bhajan, and completely devoid of the tendency to criticize other devotees. Gurudev said they may not be so advanced even, but if they're following all rules and regulation, all principles of bhakti, madhyamadikari at least, and if they're not criticizing other Vaishnavas, then we should accept them and they can be bona fide. But Gurudev said we must ultimately come through higher association, shiksha at least, and then we can achieve the lotus feet of Krishna. So Gurudev mentioned this story. He said we should understand the importance of Guru Tattva in our life. This is another form of impersonalism. Oh, I worship Krishna, he is God, but I don't want Guru in my life. We see this in modern culture. I was watching, they had a seminar recently in Mayapur, and they were talking about how can we water down Guru Tattva? How can we water down and water out?
Who's talking?
This was a seminar in Mayapur, leadership.
Devotees?
Yes, devotees. Yes, in Mayapur temple. They had a leadership seminar. I'm not here to criticize, but the discussion was for 1 hour, how can we minimize the importance of Guru Tattva in our organization? Because otherwise people are fighting, this group, that group. Better just to get rid of it. We have a symbolic Guru. Who is that? Srila Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada is our Guru. He is Jagat Guru, yes, but his disciplic succession is continuing. So Gurudev said, we should not be thinking only someone is in my group, then they're bona fide. What happens? Then we become Mayavadis. Right? Only in my group they're bona fide. It's a form of Mayavad. Krishna has many. Mayavadi. There are many. Gurudev said also Ramanuja Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, Nimbadita Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Many bona fide Vaishnavas are there. Gurudev said even Babaji's you should honor and respect. Right? Don't criticize anyone. But at the same time we follow Guru Bhakti. So this is an interesting point. Then Gurudev told very sweet instructions based on a very important verse. Gurudev said if you want to know everything in a nutshell, how to be a Gaudiya Vaishnav, then he quoted this verse of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Gurudev said, if you're my disciple, you should know this verse. So we can say it together. Yes, Anuradha knows. We can do it together, no problem. Aradyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Taddama Brindavana Ramya Kachirupasana Brajabadu Bhargenaya Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanang Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan Shri Chaitanya Matamadham Tatradharo Na Paraha. So Gurudev said in brief, I'll explain this very sweet verse with stories of Krishna. Aradyo Bhagavan. It's a very interesting thing. Gurudev said Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna. Swami Prabhupada established this everywhere in the world. But yet Gurudev came and he established something even more hidden. That despite Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, none of the Brajbasis think he's God. So if you were to ask, yes, Vrindavan, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Yes? Yes, you must say yes. But if you were to ask Nanda Baba, is Krishna the Supreme Personality of Godhead? You say, what? If you ask Madhya Yashoda, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? She said, who? I worship Narayan, Shalagram, he is Bhagavan. Krishna is just my son, and I'm trying to teach him proper etiquette, rules and regulation in life. So Gurudev mentioned this point. He said, Aradyo Bhagavan, what is the highest personality of Godhead? Who is the highest? Krishna, Ram, Narayan, Narasingha. Some places they worship Narasingha is the highest. Vishnu is the highest. Ram is the highest. But this is our Gaudiya Siddhanta. Gurudev said, established by Mahaprabhu. This verse is from where? It's another point Gurudev made. If you read Gurudev's books, Gurudev makes every point very clear. He said, this is the verse by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. But many people say no. This is Srinath Chakravarti. Gurudev said, no, no, no. What is the source of evidence? This is a very interesting point. Gurudev made this here in Eugene. He mentioned this verse and he described it with very sweet examples. He said, this is established by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And he said, who is the evidence? He said, my Gurudev. He said, Param Gurudev. Directly I heard him say many times that he heard directly from Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada that this verse is written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is called Amnaya. Amnaya means the real scriptures coming in to cyclic succession from bona fide Guru. He said, many others are saying, he said, there's a Trisula. This is directly what Gurudev said. 3 tridents. What is that? Not to criticize, but I'm just repeating Gurudev's Katha. He said, Ananta Vasudev, Sundarananda Vidyavinod, and 1 Haridas. And together these 3 tried to destroy the foundation of Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada's mission. This is also Krishna's Leela, but Gurudev said like that. He said, therefore we follow Amnaya, we follow our Guru Parampara. And he said, have no doubt. So this is also why we're publishing these books, because all these things are revealed, and there's no question, there's no doubt. Why you go to one group, they say this is the truth. You go to another group, they say this is the truth. You go to a third group, this is the truth. If you go to 100 groups, 100 people give 100 things that are the truth. But for us, we follow Guru Parampara. That is our connection to Krishna. Krishna says, unless you take shelter of Sri Guru, you cannot approach me. So how do we approach Krishna? Through the Guru Parampara. So then Gurudev said this very sweet thing. He said, the Brajabasis, Krishna is the Supreme Personality. Which Krishna? Brajendra Nandan. Krishna in Braj. He is the Aradyo Bhagavan. So then Gurudev told a story. He said, when Krishna lifted Giriraj on his pinky, right? Left pinky. He said in Vrindavan, everyone had different conception around this. So who is lifting Giriraj? Gurudev asked this question. When Krishna lifted Giriraj, who was the power behind this? Srimati Radhika. This is according to Krishna's conception. Gurudev then said, who did the cowherd boys think lifted Giriraj? The cowherd boys thought, we are lifting Giriraj and we should help Krishna. So they all took their cowherding sticks and used them to hold up Giriraj. Right? The cowherd boys were thinking, this is their Sakyaras, the mood of friendship to Krishna. Krishna is like our friend. They didn't think Bhagavan is lifting it, Krishna. So this is the mood of Braj. That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Which Krishna? When Prabhupada writes, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is he referring to? This Brajendra Nandan Krishna. Many people say, no, Krishna is Mathura Dvish. In India, many people say that Krishna in Vrindavan and Krishna who spoke the Gita are different Krishnas. Did you know that? Many people say in India, Krishna who spoke the Bhagavad Gita, that is good Krishna. And Krishna in Vrindavan stealing the clothes of the gopis, that is another Krishna. Like there are two Buddhas, right? Oh, this Krishna, this naughty Krishna is not Bhagavan. Krishna speaking the Gita, that is good Krishna. They said, no, this is not Sastra. If you look in the Veda, it's described, Krishna Shyamat Prapadde Shabalat Prapadde. Krishna in Braj, Shama Sundara. That is the original Krishna. And that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Gurudev said, oh, this Krishna who left Vrindavan, that is Mathuradish, Dwarkadish, lesser expansion of Krishna, not the original. Ete Changsa Kalapungsa, Krishnastu Bhagavan, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. Yet in Vrindavan, when Krishna lifted Giriraj, most people think that's evidence that he is God, right? Krishna lifted Giriraj, how big was this mountain? 7 miles high, Gurudev described at that time. More than Mount Everest. And how wide? And Krishna lifted up like nothing. But none of the Brijabasis thought this is Krishna's power. Even Krishna didn't think it was his power. Said Krishna thought, oh, this is only by the power of Srimati Radhika. And the Sakas thought, we'll help Krishna. It's only possible by our strength. What did the gopis think? What did the gopis think? The gopis, Gurudev said, the gopis were telling Giriraj with their eyes, don't move an inch or we'll burn you to ash. The gopis didn't think it was Krishna. The gopis knew, oh, Giriraj is very powerful. Haridasa Varya. Giriraj, by his own prowess, is holding himself up. Yes, right? He's a Siddha yogi. Giriraj has a personality, right? This is his one form. But there's a personality, like Jamuna Devi is also Bishaka, right? So she has a form. Giriraj also has a form. So the gopis know, oh, Giriraj, by his mystical powers, he is holding himself up. And they told Giriraj, if you move down 1 inch, Giriraj will burn you to ash. So this is the beauty of Vrindavan. Gurudev mentioned like that. Even though Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one thought Krishna is God. Why? Otherwise, there would be some blockage in the sweetness of their relationship. Some block. So then Gurudev described that afterwards, some people, only a few, they thought maybe Krishna is actually God. Who? The elderly Gopas. Why? By some influence, some sages, Santaras. Some other sages thought maybe he is Bhagavan. Maybe. Before they didn't know for sure. Demigods thought he is Bhagavan. Why? When Agasura, the light Jyoti of the soul of Agasura came into Krishna's feet, then all the demigods thought, oh, he is Bhagavan. And Indra tried to attack, but afterwards he failed, so he understood he is Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigra, Anadi Adi Govinda. Govinda name came from Indra, right? All the demigods accepted Krishna as Bhagavan. But the Brijabasis didn't think that. But some Gopas came to Nanda Baba and said, oh Nanda Baba, you shouldn't chastise Krishna, right? Krishna is not Bhagavan, right? Krishna is Bhagavan, you shouldn't chastise him. This is what they told Nanda Baba. He said, Madhya Yashoda bound Krishna to the grinding mortar, this is not proper. Who really knows? Baladev knows, yes, but he is also not thinking like that. But he is thinking, oh, Krishna he's only facilitating the sweet pastimes of Krishna. So Aradyo Bhagavan. The Gopa said, Krishna is Bhagavan, you should not chastise him. Nanda Baba said, anyhow, he is my son. Uddhava came and tried to convince the Brijabasis that Krishna is God. They said, Uddhava, you're very simple-minded. You don't know anything. How is it possible? You don't know Krishna like we know Krishna. He is not God. So Gurudev said in the West, he said, I've come to teach you, and Prabhupada has come to teach you all tattvas. What tattvas? Krishna tattva, Jiva tattva, Maya tattva, Sadhan, Sambandha Abhideya, Prayojan tattva, Dasamula tattva, all tattvas. Yes, we should learn everything. Correct? Gurudev said, learn everything and then forget. In the Gita, Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridisam nivishto. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Why? Because if we don't forget that Krishna is God, how can we experience Madhurya Ras with Krishna? Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, this mood of maternal love, friendship, or the mood of the gopis. It's possible. So one day you have to forget. But when? Gurudev said, once you cross over Maya, then you can forget. You need some respect and some sadhana. Once you cross over Maya, then you forget. So how do we cross over Maya? By hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's names, performing kirtan. Then we can very quickly cross over Maya. By the shelter of Sri Guru, very quickly. Maya is not so difficult to cross. It's difficult? No, it's not difficult. By yourself it is. That's why we are doing together. So Nanda Baba said, I am teaching Krishna to be a good boy. Whatever you think, he is my son. It's my responsibility to teach him to be a good boy. He said, how can he be God? Sometimes if Mother Yashoda is a few minutes late giving butter, then what does he do? He'll start breaking the pots. And every day he's going and stealing from all the different houses. So therefore we have to chastise him. We have to chastise him. So Krishna is not God. And when there's a thunderstorm, he runs and jumps in our bed and crawls up in their blankets and says, oh, please protect me, Baba. Then some gopis were there. This is Nanda Baitak. It's described that they began telling stories of Krishna and just laughing and laughing and laughing. And at the end of it, they were asking each other, what were we talking about? Has this ever happened to you? Sometimes in life, right? Just happy and laughing. And then what were we talking about? What were we arguing about? So in this way, the Babas, all the Gopas, understood the sweetness of Krishna. So then Gurudev described, sometimes Krishna is sitting with Nanda Baba and Jashoda, and some elderly gopis will say, oh, bring Nanda Baba's shoes. And Krishna with great difficulty will lift the big wooden shoes of Nanda Baba and put them on his head and carry them to his father. That is possible in Ram Lila or Vishnu. Narayan, Gurudev said, Narayan, who is his mother and father of Lord Narayan? Anyone knows? Mother and father of Lord Narayan? Right? So therefore he is God. Yes? Gurudev said, no, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigra. One time in New Braj, Gurudev asked the boys in the school, Prem Pradeep was speaking, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigra, Anadi Adi Govinda Sarva Karna Karanam. Gurudev said, who is Krishna? Does he have a father? Brajendra Nandan is his father. Brajendra Nandan. He is Brajendra Nandan, so that means Nanda is his father. He is the son of Nanda, but he is the Anadi Adi Govinda, Sarva Karna Karanam. Is it possible? Who came first, Nanda Baba or Krishna? Gurudev asked. He said, is this true? We say Anadi Adi Govinda, the cause of all causes. So it's possible? Right? Right? Gurudev said, no, Nanda Baba is his father. He is the son of Nanda Baba. But in that world, this is eternal. And this is according to the rasa. There's no past, present, and future in the spiritual world. He's eternally the father. That means there's never a time that Krishna was born. But Nanda Baba, according to his relationship, in the highest realm, it's all based on relationship. Krishna is relishing the relationship of having his father, the relationship of his mother, the relationship with his beloveds. This is Krishna in Vrindavan. This is Aradyo Bhagavan. Because Krishna wants that sweetness. Lord Narayan doesn't have Sakya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, Madhurya Ras. Therefore Krishna is Akila Rasamrita Murti, the first verse of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Akila Rasamrita Murti Prashrimara Ruchi Rudat Arakapali Kalita Shama Lalito Radha Prayon Virudha Jayati. Akila Rasamrita Murti. Lord Narayan or Lord Ram also do not relish all these different rasas like Krishna in Vrindavan. So Gurudev described like this, very sweetly. He said sometimes the gopis, they will ask Krishna, oh, the alta on our feet has come faded. This reddish ointment. He said, you should put this on our feet. And Krishna will serve the feet of the Braja Gopis. So he said this is the teaching of Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So especially our Gurudev, he was very connected to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's teachings and Srila Rupa Goswami. Aradyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavana. What is the highest Dham? Vrindavan. Gurudev said this Vrindavan is non-different from Krishna. Right? And what is the Dham? Why is the Dham non-different from Krishna? Gurudev asked. Why? Why is the Dham non-different from Krishna? Because this is Baladev. Gurudev said, Vrindavan Dham, all the Dhams are expansions of Baladev Prabhu. And because Baladev is the non-different expansion of Krishna, therefore the Dham is non-different from Krishna. So this is also, wherever Thakurji is present, devotees are present, and paraphernalia for serving the devotees are present, that is Baladev. Chamara here, bell, this is all Baladev's energy. So this is also Dham. Rupa Goswami said you should serve the Dham, try to be in Vrindavan, and if you cannot be there physically, be there by your heart and your mind, and by being in some centers like Vrindavan. So this Bhakti Ashram, Eugene, is also branch office of Vrindavan. This is the establishment of Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said, Brajapatan, every place will establish a branch office of Vrindavan. Right? Therefore, Thakurji is present, devotees are present, and we hear about Krishna, therefore this becomes a branch office of Vrindavan. Right? So the Dham is non-different from Krishna because this is Baladev. What's the next line? Ramya Kachidupasana. Whose worship is the best? The Braja Gopis. How do they worship Krishna? Krishna worships them. But he said we should follow the method of their worship. So there's different kinds of archan, process of worship, sadhana, and so forth, described in the Bhagavatam, Navavida Bhakti, and so forth. But what is the mood of the gopis? Gurudev said, Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Offer your mind and heart to Krishna. That is the highest upasana. Therefore, when we do anukut, what do we offer in anukut? So many preparations, but he said, really we offer our heart and atma. That is the anna. So we offer that, then we are doing Ramya Kachidupasana, following the gopis. It's very easy. Yes? Offering your heart is very easy. Oh Krishna, I am yours. How do we offer our heart? How do we cross over Maya? Hare Krishna. How do we cross over Maya? Krishna tomar hoy jadi bhole ek baar Maya bhanda hoite Krishna tare kare par. Gurudev said this is a very interesting and very easy process of bhakti. This is the easy method of bhakti. Not of bhakti, but of spiritual life. Gurudev said Mayavad, all these other processes, Gyan, very difficult. Yoga, Siddhi, very difficult. But bhakti is very easy. All you have to do is tell Krishna, I am yours. Krishna tomar hoy. Krishna tomar hoy jade bole. One time, if you sincerely call out to Krishna, I am yours, then he arranged everything for you to cross over Maya. So it seems very difficult. Why? We're in the middle of life, right? It seems very difficult. I can tell you from my experience. Yes, it seems very difficult. But if once we can sincerely say to Krishna, oh, Krishna tomar hoy, Krishna, I am yours, bole ek bar, one time, then the rest of it seems very difficult. But Krishna is arranging everything. Guru and Krishna arranging everything very quickly. Gurudev would say, after a few lifetimes, maybe 10 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, we'll be with Krishna in Vrindavan. How hard is that? 8,400,000 species of life. That's difficult. And again, going through that cycle, that is difficult. But a few lifetimes in Krishna consciousness, and Gurudev said even this lifetime, no problem. But that is our process, very simple. Ramya Kachidupasana. How do we follow the gopis? Man mana bhava. Offer our heart to Krishna. How do we do that? Hear about Krishna and chant his names. We were talking about this last night. How do we do smaranam? We remember Krishna by hearing about Krishna and by doing kirtan and chanting Harinam. Very easy process. Brajavadu Vagenya Kalpita. How do the Braja Gopis worship Krishna? Therefore, Gurudev said, if we look in Sastra, all the great sages are glorifying the Braja Gopis. Shanaka Sanatana Bharnita Charite. They're glorifying. Lord Brahma, Sastivarsa Sastrani. For 60,000 years, he said, I meditated in the glories of Srimati Radhika. Still, I could not fathom completely. So I took birth in Varshana as the mountains, as the hills. Dangad, Bangad, Vilasgad, Mangad. Brahma said, why? I cannot understand her glories by my mind, so I'll pray and take the dust of her lotus feet on my head. Gurudev said, Uddhava prayed like that also. Asamaho charanarenu jusamahamsham brindavane kimapi gulmadato sadinam vande nanda brajastrinam padarenum abhikshnasa yasyam hari katodgitam punati bhuvanatrayam. This is our process. Ramya Kachidupasana. But what is the goal? There's an upasana, a process, and there's a goal. So then Gurudev stressed this point. What is the goal? Prema pumarto mahan. Prem. So Gurudev said something very interesting. He said, Vrindavan Dham is not the goal. Krishna is not the goal. And he said even Srimati Radhika directly is not the goal. The Braja Gopis is not the goal. Sakyaras, Vatsaliras, not the goal. What is the goal? Krishna Prem. That love for Krishna. How do we achieve that? Therefore we follow this process. Take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the evidence. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanang Amalam Prema Pumartamahan. If you study the Srimad Bhagavatam, what part of the Srimad Bhagavatam established this? Every part. Gurudev said we should study the whole Bhagavatam. Every verse is filled with prem, because the goal is taking you to prem. Every verse the Srimad Bhagavatam is taking you to Krishna Prem. Therefore, every verse Srimati Radhika is present, because she is that embodiment of all prem. So Gurudev said, therefore, in the Gaudiya lineage, what is our goal? Prem, Krishna Prem, but what type? Then Gurudev gets specific. There are many kinds of ras, many kinds of relationship. Gaura Prem is non-different from Krishna Prem. But we serve Mahaprabhu in Dasya Ras. Gurudev said if you want to enter Radha Krishna's Yugal Seva, then you have to develop Dasya Bhakti to Mahaprabhu. He said this will, because Mahaprabhu's desire is Radha Dasyam, because he came to give Radha Dasyam, then by serving Mahaprabhu, by serving him, then by serving his teachings, by serving his moods, very quickly we can develop this mood of the maidservant Srimati Radhika. Therefore, Prabodhananda Saraswati Pad sings this very beautiful verse. Yata yata gaura padara vinde vindeta bhakti krita punya rashi. As much as we can develop bhakti for the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that, what does it do? Tata tatot sarpita. Automatically, they'll begin to develop a mood in your heart. Riddha kasmad. This mood will come in the heart. Radha padamboja sudamburasi. Oh, I will take shelter of the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. Because that's Mahaprabhu's desire. If you really serve Mahaprabhu, according to your nature, you may be in another rasa. Dasya sakya vatsalya. But Gurudev said, if you're fully serving the mood of Mahaprabhu, Gurudev said one thing. He said, your rasa, your mood can change if you haven't perfected yours yet. But upon perfection, it will be fixed. Meaning, if you're in different kinds of association, your mood can change. Like Gopakumar, he went to different places, but ultimately, Gurudev said again and again and again, 1,000 times, once your mood is mature, that is sthayi bhav, that is fixed. That is fixed. But by association, it may change in the meantime. But once you, and that's why sadhu sangha is always helpful. Because anyhow, it's developing your mood of bhakti to Krishna. And so you're going through school, classes. You go through one class, next class, and next class, it's good. All sadhu sangha that helps us develop any bhakti. But ultimately, Gurudev said you should try to develop your fixed mood. And in the mood of Mahaprabhu, in the line of Mahaprabhu, that is this service of Srimati Radhika. Gurudev mentioned a very beautiful verse. He said, we pray to the dust of the lotus feet of the Braja Gopis. But he said, not even to that. We pray just to the direction where Srimati Radhika is present. What is that verse? Yasya kadapi vasanančala kelo nato dhanyati dhanya pavanena kritartamani yogendra durga magatir madhusudanahopi tasya namostu vrishabhanu jayodisepi. I offer pranam to that direction. That's why we take shelter of the Goswamis and Prabodhananda Saraswati Pad. How beautiful are these prayers. He said, I offer pranam to that direction where Srimati Radhika is present. And why? Yasya kadapi vasanančala. When the beautiful breeze in Vrindavan, what is the breeze? Serving Sri Krishna. How? By bringing this beautiful aroma, the fragrance of the divine love of Srimati Radhika to Krishna. Dhira samire jamuna tire basati vano vanamali pina payodhara parisharamardhana chanchalakara jugashali. Dhira samire, that breeze, Dhira samire in Vrindavan, the banks of the Jamuna, is carrying that fragrance of the love coming from the anchal, the shawl of Srimati Radhika. And when that comes to Krishna, then what happens? Oh, It's described, Venun karan niparitam skalitam shikhandam brastam chapita vasanam brajaraja shuno yasya kataksha saragata vimurchitasya. From the fragrance of, one time, Gurudev gives the story, one time they arranged a wrestling match. Right? This is one of the reasons Nanda Baba said Krishna cannot be Bhagavan. He said, sometimes Sridham, Subal, I see them in the courtyard. They're wrestling Krishna and defeating him very easily. How can he be Bhagavan? I've never heard of that. Narayan being wrestling with associates and being defeated. It's not possible. So Krishna is always boasting that he is the most powerful. But the gopis say, Krishna, you're not so powerful. Srimati Radhika is more powerful. So Gurudev described the arranged wrestling match. And Madhu Mangal was trying to get Krishna ready, enthusiastic and ready to fight. But simply by the fragrance from the cloth of Srimati Radhika, Krishna fell senseless. So Pramonanda Sarasvati Pad says, I offer pranam to the direction, simply to the direction where that is coming. Yasya kadapi vasananchala kelunata dhanyati dhanya pavanena kritarthamani. By the sidelong glance of Srimati Radhika, by the fragrance of her cloth, Krishna is becoming overwhelmed with ecstasy. But then by the sidelong glance, Yasya said, Saragata vimurchitasya, by the arrow-like sidelong glance of Srimati Radhika piercing the heart of Krishna. What is that? Kam Gayatri. When we meditate on Kam Gayatri, what do we pray? Right? Pushpa bhajan. Flower arrows. What is that? Not for us. Srimati Radhika's love for Krishna. That is what we worship. Therefore, Kam Gayatri is also Srimati Radhika's prayer to her service. Kam Gayatri is Yugal Mantra, divine couple. But what is the action? What is the activity there? That, yes, Saragata vimurchitasya, the loving sidelong glance of Srimati Radhika piercing the heart of Krishna. With what? With this divine Madhurya Ras, the sweetness of their love. That is that sidelong glance. That is the Seva Kunj. Sidelong glance of Srimati Radhika, and Krishna himself is serving that. Anaya Radhita Nunam Bhagavan Hari Ishvara. That Bhagavan Hari, Ishvar, he is serving Srimati Radhika. So this is our Gaudiya conception. Gurudev said, but the goal, what is the goal? Right? Mahaprabhu established for us, Anarpita charim chirat karunaya vatirna kalo samarpaitum unata ujjala rasam svabhakti shriyam. In Jaiva Dharma especially, Gurudev describes, showing the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, speaking on this. What does it mean to become this kinkari, maidservant of Srimati Radhika? Right? Gurudev preached in the West. I was hearing this from Gopanandini Mataji. She said, she heard Gurudev say this. He said, I'm traveling and I'm preaching everywhere about Krishna. But some places I find some special flowers. He said, I find them everywhere. Gopanandini Mataji was telling us many times. He said, Gurudev was speaking like that in New Braj and also in India. He said, in India I find them all the time, especially in Mathura, Vrindavan. I find these special jivas who Radharani has sent me to bring to the Goloka Vrindavan, to be her servants, her maidservant. Gurudev said, I find them. He said, He said, I'm always looking. Gurudev said, I'm always looking. Where will they be? Where will they be? And sometimes I find them. So this is Gurudev's mood. We should have no doubt in this. He said, I also find them in the West. And he said, it's like the most rare and special, fragrant flowers blooming in the desert of samsara. Right? Like you can see, wherever that mood is present in the hearts of the devotees, Gurudev said, there must be a reason. Gurudev said this 1,000 times. Why did you join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's line? Why did you join this line? He said, you can go to another sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, another sampradaya, but where they worship Lakshmi Narayan. But he said, here we are worshipping Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna Prana Mora Jugala Kishore Jivane Marane Ar Gati Nahi More. So in this Kam Gayatri is a meditation on how Srimati Radhika is serving Krishna. We cannot become Srimati Radhika, or we cannot have that direct relation with Krishna. That is not proper. Or Radharani, you can move aside and now I will be the object of worship with Krishna. No. This Kam Gayatri mantra, this is Jugal mantra, how she is satisfying the desires of Sri Krishna. And then all of this existence is the expansion of her desire to please Sri Krishna through the Kripa mercy pastime of bringing the jivas to him, and also through finding those jivas who can develop that same mood, who have that in their nature. So therefore Mahaprabhu came, Gurudev mentioned this verse also, Napare ham niravadya samyujam, that Krishna wanted to repay the gopis. And he said, "Oh gopis, how can I repay you?" And they said, "Do you have no debt to family?" There's no question of debt. So people say, "Oh, we are so indebted to Gurudev." Yes, this is true. But when we develop our sambandha, we realize Gurudev came to find us. We are his eternal family. Gurudev's eternal family. This life we have different anarthas, different confusion, criticism. This Vaishnava is good, that Vaishnava is not good. Who is good, not? But from the perception of the pure devotee, they see every jiva in their perfected position. This is the Uttam Mahabhagavat, Gurudev's topmost level devotee. Sarvatra Ishtadevir Spurti. They see the pure bhakti potential in every jiva and their relation with Krishna. Gurudev sees you and says, "Oh, Vrindavan, this is your relation with Krishna. And how can you realize that?" Gurudev sees that. And we think, "Oh, I'm so fallen and I'm in this condition of life," which is true from our perception. But whose perception is more valuable? Gurudev's perception is more valuable or ours? Gurudev says, "Oh, that is your position. And how will you go there? Therefore, we have to follow bhakti." So we follow bhakti yoga, but what is our most important limb? Gurudev said, you must simply develop this desire. And faith with desire. Have faith in this. And Gurudev said, you may not, how is our faith? Our faith is based on faith in Srila Gurudev. How do we know this is real? We know Srila Gurudev. And anyone who is in the presence of Srila Gurudev, there was never the tiniest doubt, right? When we were in Gurudev's presence, hearing from Gurudev this sweet Harikatha, it was real. When Gurudev would sing Radhe, 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 Jai Jai Shri Radhe, there was no doubt. I remember Gurudev would say Jai Jai Shri Radhe, and he would say more loudly, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, more loudly. And Gurudev would say, again, I will see you tomorrow. So in the presence of Gurudev, there was never doubt. So therefore, it said we take shelter of that water of Guru Tattva, that reservoir of Guru Tattva. We are not Ritviks, we are not impersonalists, we are not trying to worship Krishna without Guru. This is the first teaching of the story. He said, don't try to approach Krishna without Guru. You'll become Mayavad, and then you'll be burnt, right? Many demons will come and kick you. So Gurudev said, many demons will come and kick you. Our hope, our saving grace, we say His divine grace. His divine grace. Who is that? Srila Swami Prabhupada or Srila Gurudev? What does it mean, His divine grace? Krishna is His divine grace, Srimati Radhika. Her messenger. His divine grace. Krishna's divine grace embodied in the personality of our Guru Varga. And so we take shelter of them, we remember them, we serve them. And by doing this, very easily, Bhakti bhava prem tina prakashata. Gurudev sang this song many times. We can go through the stages of bhakti, sadhan bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. That is our goal. So therefore we are honoring all the devotees here in this beautiful Sangha in Eugene. This is our process of bhakti, very easy. We hear about Gurudev, his katha, the Vaishnavas, their katha, and we try to remember Krishna, remember this Hari Katha. Then very easily we can cross over this bhava sangsara, very easily. This life, I know from growing up, right? When you're young, teenager, right? Oh, seems like life is so difficult and each moment lasts for so long, right? And you're through so many struggles in life. But as you grow older, you see, oh, life is just passing like a dream. So we should think, because we have come into the association of Gurudev, this life, yes, will easily pass like a dream. And then we'll be, right? This is not some fantastic, oh, hope, and let us feel good, we'll be with Krishna. This is fact, according to Sastra Siddhanta, which says, you simply remember me at the time of death, you'll come to me. This is what Krishna says in the Gita. Devotees, we complicate things. But if you follow the Gita, it's very simple. Krishna says, remember me at the time of death, and you will come to me. And coming to my abode, you'll never have to return to samsara. So how can we remember Krishna? We remember Gurudev and what he spoke about Krishna, and develop attraction to the sweet pastimes of Krishna, and develop desire to be with Krishna. He said the soul will go wherever there's desire. And he said if your desire for material life outweighs your desire for Krishna, you will stay in this world. This is another difficulty we see many times. People say, I love Krishna, but not as much as I love this world. And my friends and my family and my dogs and my cats and everything. And I also have Krishna temple and Krishna deities. And I want that. Many people have that mood. They tell me that. I want Krishna and I want this world. I want Krishna and I want my dog and my cat. A nice situation, nice atmosphere, a nice peaceful environment. So you'll get that because that is what you want. Krishna provides what you want. So you want this world, you get this world, you can put Krishna there on the altar also. But I feel like that's not the best proposition because still we're suffering in this world. Birth, death, old age, disease, so many problems, so many anarthas. So really we should go completely to Krishna. That's why Ramya Kachirupasana we follow the Brija Gopis. Because when Krishna played on his flute, they didn't care if the chapati was on the fire, right? Or if they're rocking the baby in the cradle, or if they're fully properly clothed or not. They were going so quick that, we put the top on the bottom and the bottom on the top, and they ran to Krishna. So when Yamaraj comes, not Yamaraj, when Yam comes, when time comes, death comes, we can be in the middle of cooking chapatis. We have to think, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. We cannot finish the chapati. We have to think, Krishna. We don't know. It can come at any moment. So Ramya Kachirupasana, follow the Brija Gopis. When Krishna called, they ran to Krishna. But also, as devotees, we should have no fear and no doubt. Ek Krishna Nam Kare Sarva Papanas. One time chanting Krishna Nam, all pap is destroyed. All sin is destroyed. Nothing to fear. Ajamil simply chanting Narayan, Narayan 2-3 times in his life. After doing so much pap, killing people, stealing from people, so much gambling, all the sins, everything. Simply with chanting Narayan, Narayan, he was saved. But did he get Prema Bhakti of the Brijabasis? Did he become Srimati Radhika's maidservant? We have not heard that. So we want that very high thing, therefore we have to follow and develop the greed, that's it. So how do we develop the greed? Here from Vaishnavas. And Gurudev has this property and wants to give it. We should know that. Gurudev has this, yes, tell us. So we should think, Gurudev has this property and he wants to give it. Simply we have to, there's a story of a Guru, Brahmin, he said, "Oh son, bring this pot full of water from the Ganga." And he went to the Ganga and brought it back to his Guru. And he said, "What is this? It's full of garbage." He took the pot that was full of garbage and filled it with Ganga water and brought it back to his father. And he said, "Dump out the garbage, then fill it up with water." So how do we do that? Sometimes it's very difficult to get rid of anarthas. So Gurudev would say, don't worry about your anarthas. What do? He said, hearing Harikatha is like pouring milk in a glass of our consciousness. And what happens, just keep pouring it, keep pouring it, keep pouring it. Gradually all the other thing will come out. And you'll think, these things don't work together well, so let's take this out and take this out. But just hear Harikatha. Gurudev said, hear Harikatha, this is the way. This is the way, this is the way. Harinam, Eva Kevalam, this is the only way. Hear Harikatha and perform Krishna Kirtan. Very easily we can cross over this ocean of material existence, very easily. So we're remembering Srila Gurudev and praying like this. Gurudev said, definitely it will come, definitely it will come, definitely it will come. Someone told Gurudev, for 20 years I've been chanting, 30 years I have no taste, but I have some greed. Gurudev said, what do you want? Tavevasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charananti. Gurudev, I want that. You've told me that 100 times, so I want that. Gurudev said, your life is successful. You've developed even the semblance of a desire for that, even an appreciation of that, even an understanding of that in a little glimpse, then your life is successful. So we should have hope and confidence. Our Gurudev is very powerful. Simply chanting Narayan, Narayan, Ajamil was saved. Simply lifting up a lotus, Gajendra was saved. What was his bhakti? Gajendra had his family, his association, he was very proud. But when that time personified was killing him as the crocodile, he simply lifted up a lotus and the Lord saved him. Right? So the Lord is so powerful, but we want that special Braja Bhakti, therefore we have to develop the greed for it. Therefore, what do? Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Kritam Jadi Kutopi Labhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam. Who has that greed? By their association we can develop that greed. That is our message. Hare Krishna Vancha Kalpatrubhischa Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai Bhakti Ashram Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Vo Jai. Yes. I don't have any specific reference. Gurudev actually spoke that in Eugene. He said in Eugene, he said that.
Is it in any of your books?
The West Coast volume somebody has here. We actually gave it to someone in Vancouver, but I can find it and read from it. He said, you may gradually come into the association of Mahaprabhu. To perfect, we are Gaura Bhaktas. We are not Radha Krishna Bhaktas, we are Gaura Bhaktas. So we want to achieve birth in Gaura Mahaprabhu's Navadvip Mayapur, then from there to Vrindavan. And Gurudev said the Atma can be present in both Leelas. So we are going towards Gaur Leela. And we should think, what does it mean to be in the association of Bhaktivinoda Thakur? People think in linear time. Oh, I have to go back to the 1800s and be with Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And then I'll have to go back to the 1700s, be with Nrsimha Chakravarti Thakur. And then I'll have to go back to 1600 to be with Narottam Das Thakur. Then gradually I'll get back to the 1500s to be with Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu's Leela, Prabhupada says, okay, this is a very interesting point Prabhupada makes. He said, Paramanu, the smallest part of time, it takes light to pass over an atom. At every moment like that, Krishna is appearing in another Brahmanda. And this universe is lasting for 311 trillion years plus. And so how many, we did a calculation once, how many universes Krishna is appearing in according to that time. So we should think that but being with Bhaktivinoda Thakur doesn't mean we'll go back to the British Raj and we'll be with him as a magistrate in Puri and we'll hear him speak in Jagannath Puri at the, Bhakti Mandap. Means higher and higher association. And where will they maybe? We don't know where they are. But we'll get their association. Or this universe, who knows? Gurudev said we'll get the association of Bhaktivinoda. He didn't say we'll get the time period. Who cares about the time period? We care about the association. Right? If you were to say, I want to be with Gurudev in 1996, why not be with Gurudev in 2024? 2023? Or any time. Any time with Gurudev is good time. So that's what I was speaking about yesterday. We think in terms of past, present, future. We should think of in how to be present with Guru and Vaishnavas. Then past, present, future doesn't matter. Every moment is perfect. In association of, that's why Naimisharanya, time stops. Only Harikatha. Krishna, when he was doing rasa dance, the moon stopped for a whole night of Brahma. So Krishna is also time, is his angsa. He is in control. So we can go in their association and gradually we can progress. But it's not in accordance to material time. We have to go backwards in time. Yes?
How does that correspond to Nitya Lila though? Because if they entered into Nitya Lila, and simultaneously they can be present in some Purusha.
I was listening last night actually, Bhakti Sridhar Maharaj. I just tuned in for a few minutes. He's speaking in LA. He said very interesting. He said, Krishna is agatana gatana patiyashi shakti. The power to make what seems impossible possible, right? Right? So he said we shouldn't think. He was giving the example of how sometimes more than one jiva is in one body even in Krishna Lila. Like Haridas Thakur, we hear Brahma and Prahlad together. So he said this is not limited to our material mind. We want to measure everything with our mind. That is Maya. In Sastra it says Maya means the measuring tendency in this world. Miyaya nayati Maya. What can I measure with my mind? But this is adokshaj, beyond the material mind. So Gurudev would say, ultimately this tattva is important to understand, but ultimately we have to enter ras tattva. I don't know, this is not so easy to explain, but God can make the impossible possible. Mataji?
It's slightly related to that concept. I was thinking Nitya Lila, eternal pastime, followed Purana. So does it do different pastime? Do we understand Nitya Lila as being the same pastime?
Nitya Lila means Ananta Lila. We're given some idea. This is sadhana. Astakali Lila and Astakali Lila of Mahaprabhu and Radhakrishna. We're given an idea. And this is an eternal thing. This is eternal Lila. Nitya Lila means eternal Lila. But we also hear Namo Ananta Lilaya Devaya Tubhyam. So we should not limit Krishna to this also. Right? What we can understand, what is helpful for our bhajan, this is given. But your question about Nitya Lila, that is always going on. Gurudev is always present there. That's what I'm saying here. Gurudev is always present in Nitya Lila. Prabhupada is always present in Nitya Lila. Sometime they come to this world and perform Naimatik Lila, helping us.